Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to an episode of Travel Talk. I haven't done one of these in a little while, and so my apologies about that. My collar is not in the right position, but I should be good now. I'd be a terrible weather person because I don't know the left from the right thing. And today's episode is about when should I buy a one-way as opposed to a round trip ticket? Gone are the days when what they used to do, they used to have something called marriage segments. And a marriage segment just means that if you have a round trip ticket, you're going out and you're coming back on another. And when they put them together, they create a special fare. So it becomes a marriage segment. That's an oversimplistic way of explaining it to you. Now what they've done is because they've unbundled, this is a term that they use, where they take away you have to pay for seat assignments, you have to pay for baggage, you have to pay for everything now. You don't have all that anymore. So what they have is that what they call the base fare, which they still had back then. But now what you have is you have the just a fare. And so with that, the same fare going in is normally the same fare coming back if the same buckets are available. And a bucket is just the different levels that the fares are. So in any one market, let's say behind me is Isla Mujeres, which is in Cancun. So off the coast of Cancun. So let's say you're going to Cancun from Houston. You may have a $10 fare, a $20 fare, a $30 fare, a $40 fare, depending on when you buy it. So you may have the $10 fare going in, and maybe the $10 fare is not available coming back. It's the $30 fare. So when you do a round trip ticket, it's going to give you the $10 fare in one direction and the $30 fare in the other direction. Also, remember that if you have three people and there's only two of the $10 fare available, but three of the $20 fare, it's going to give you the $20 fare because you can't have multiple fares in the same ticket. So bear that in mind. Um, which is why somebody will say, hey, I only paid $10 because you were going alone. But then, you and a family of three had to pay 20 because there's three of you and there weren't any more seats in the lower bucket. So you don't have to buy a round trip ticket. Now, the visa requirements in most countries is that you need to have an onward ticket. So yes, you do need a round trip ticket. Or if you're just flying, let's say you're within the US, you're going to San Francisco, you don't have to buy a return ticket. You can just buy two one-ways. Here's the thing about buying two one-ways. It doesn't necessarily change your fare because the fact that you have two different fares, all it does is put them together and add it. Gone are the days when they used to put them together and add it, and then you get a cheaper fare. So it was cheaper to buy the return than to buy the two one-ways. This is still the case if you're going, like I was trying to go Houston to Doha. And when you look at the fare, if you buy the round trip ticket, it's cheaper than if you buy the two one-ways. Crazy, right? And it's just how again, it's a marriage segment logic and all that in there. But when you're flying within the US, it doesn't matter most of the times. And you can check it. So you can go do the round trip, see if it's $200, do two one-ways and see if it's $100 each way. Sometimes it might even be less just because you're getting a different bucket available when you go to do the booking. So always check that first. When you buy, one of the beauty of buying two one-ways is, let's say you have to change your ticket. Like on the last time I booked two one-way tickets and I had to change it. I had bought a basic economy ticket. It was less than $100, and the change fee, although American says there is no change fee, but if my ticket is less than $100, I don't get any money back. And I can't change it anyway. I don't get a credit or anything. If it was over $100, I'd get a credit minus the $100. Weird. But I had two tickets. I had one way and then another for the return. And so because I wasn't going to be able to make the outbound, which is the first one, it didn't affect the second one. Nothing to do with it because they're not connected. And so I was able to cancel the first one and keep the second one without changing it. With the airlines, if you no show, if you have a round trip ticket and you don't show up for the first segment, you're gonna lose the second one. So if you're not gonna show up and you have a round trip ticket, you need to call them. You need to call them anyway. Just tell them, hey, I'm not showing up. What happens? And they will tell you what happens. Not showing up and not calling just means that when you let's say you decided, oh, I'm going to drive for whatever reason, and then but I want my ticket to come back. Chances are, because you didn't do the outbound, you don't have the return, and the return is going to be canceled because you never started the journey. But if you had two one-way tickets, you don't have that issue because the first ticket has no dependency on the second ticket, right? So just a little tip for you when you go out there and you're trying to book and find the cheapest fare. And like I said, typically the fares, it doesn't really matter because the fares are just based, they're just based in one direction. So it might be $10 to go one way, and doing the return might be $20, and the total would have been 30, whether you buy one way, two one ways, or you buy a round trip. It'll be the same. But you have the flexibility that if you need to make a change or not show up for the outbound or not show up for the return or whatever the deal is, it doesn't, they're both independent tickets, so it doesn't affect it. That's all I wanted to say for this one. So let me know if are you a return ticket person or you're a one-way ticket person. I'm a one-way ticket person, except if I'm going international. Remember, going international, check the fare first because 9 times out of 10, the round trip fare is cheaper than getting the two one-way. Now I like to fly different airlines. So that actually works out nicer for me because sometimes I want to fly, like I maybe want to do Alaska in one segment. Like I had to do a trip. I did American to San Francisco and then I did Alaska from San Francisco to New York. And there were two separate one-way segment rather than just buying an American ticket that would take me San Francisco to Alaska, Houston, San Francisco to New York. So it just depends on what you want to do. And of course, bear your alliances in. I'm One World, so American Airlines and Alaska Airlines are both partners. So when I fly either carrier, I get the perk based on the ticket that I buy. So that's all I have to say for this one. This is Kerwin, and this has been another episode of Travel Talk. Have a great trip. Talk to you soon.